Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is John with Seattle Coffee Gear. We are in a different spot of the commercial kitchen today, doing a commercial crew review of the Marco SP9. This is Marco's automated pour over system. That's the closest thing I would describe it. This right here is the head of the brewer. And then down here, we have the actual boiler. This looks very similar to other products in Marco's under counter range, and we'll dive into the programming of that a little bit later. So if you notice, if you've watched any of the other Marco videos, specifically the one about the jet brewer, it has this same thing up here, and this is actually the water recirculator. You'll notice in a minute when we're brewing that water comes up into here, creates a little vortex, and it's actually going between the boiler and this to keep it at a really consistent temperature. On the side, I'm going to move aside here so you guys can see that. On the side of this brewer, it has these two adjustments right here and this switch, and that's all the control you have over this brewer, but it's really all you need. So if you look, this top one is for water. That's for the amount of water, and these numbers all count by hundreds of milliliters or grams. And then this bottom one down here is for time, and it can go anywhere from 1 minute up to 5 minutes. And then what this does, what Marco has done, it's the same technology or very similar technology on the jet brewer, and you set the amount of water and the time, and it calculates out the right amount of pulses to really spread that out evenly, so then that way your temperature actually in the brew stays very steady and very consistent. The way we have this one set up today, I have it set up for that Kalita wave, but this is actually a magnet. So this is kind of adjustable or customizable for different heights. Ideally, you would want this to be as close to that shower screen as possible so you don't really lose any temperature to the air. We'll have it down a little bit lower so you guys can see exactly what's going on with the shower head while it's brewing. You can also fit an 8-cup Chemex under here and adjust it for that. It brews a pretty good Chemex. We just wish that the shower head up in there got a little bit wider spray to cover more of the actual coffee. But in my testing, I've brewed a bunch of Chemexes. It does a pretty good job, and it brews a pretty tasty Chemex. Having a really consistent temperature and a good grinder to go with it gets you some very good coffee, especially when you literally just have to turn 2 dials and flip a switch. That covers kind of the basics of this. Why don't we talk about the boiler down below here? So this is the Eco Boiler. This is the under-counter version. I have this set to stay around 204 degrees because you do lose some temperature from what I've measured when it drops down into the brew there. So I'm trying to keep my brew temperature close to 200. And really, when you think about it, that's probably more accurate than you could get with a kettle unless you're sitting there consistently pouring water over that. You also have just really 2 buttons here, because this button right there is not any actual button. So you have this eco mode right here. That reduces your power consumption. And from my testing, it slows down the recovery time of the boiler. And so if you have this set for 204 degrees and you brew a bunch through this, the lowest it's going to go is maybe 198 or 199. It won't drop much lower than that, but without that eco mode on, it stays close, really close to that 204 degrees that we had it programmed for. To program this, you press those 2 buttons and it takes you into this menu here. And you have your temperature, your time, and everything else here. Really, all you need to do is change the temperature. That's all you're going to use that for. Hopefully you guys can see that before I get through here. And to change that, you just use this button, and that turns it in a circle, or makes it get up to 204 because we have that set as the max temperature. There's a deeper menu in this that's like a tech setup menu. Really not ideal for the end consumer. It really should just be touched by the person installing the machine because there's some other settings in there that would really mess up this boiler if you did not know what you're doing. So we're not going to cover those today. And then you can scroll through these different functions just like that. And then that's your select button once again there. And it's ready. That covers a lot of the basic functions of this brewer. We'll go ahead and make a Kalita on this, and we'll taste that. These magnets are really strong. I'll try and adjust this so you guys aren't looking at a crooked Kalita this whole time. Yeah, it looks about right. So we have been programming this. We calibrated it twice. I calibrated it once just to see how that worked, and then I calibrated it again, and it's pretty accurate for what we have right now. So this little water knob, when you adjust that, we had it set to about 350 milliliters to dispense, and it averaged about 342. And that was 2 back-to-back brews that or just water that we dropped and measured in this right here. So it's pretty accurate if you're thinking 350, 342. That's a very small percentage overall. That's a couple percent. To calibrate this, you set your water volume all the way up to the maximum, just like 7.5, all the way up there, and then set the time to between 2 and 3 minutes, and then just run water all the way through. Weigh how much water you have. If it's within 10 grams above or below 750 grams, it's calibrated. If not, you hold this switch down until it emits a long beep, usually about 3 seconds is how you have to hold that down. And then it's super analog, but you just enter the grams that weighed out by tapping this down. So you would tap it, if it was 740 grams, you would tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pause, it beeps. You would tap it 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, it beeps. And then 1 gram, let's say, you just tap it once, it beeps, and then it would beep a couple times and tell you that it is now calibrated. So as long as you're within around that 750 gram range, it's fairly calibrated, and that's really not going to impact your final brew time too much. I don't have any water right here besides this, so I'm going to show you guys how to activate the continuous brew, and that just drops water all the way through this. I'm using this to rinse out this water filter, or this filter in the Kalita before I brew. So once it gets up to temperature, it's just going to continually drop water in there until it gets to the amount that you told it to. I'm just rinsing it, so I'm just going to go ahead and shut that off. Pressing that button in the middle of a brew stops whatever brew you're doing and just empties and drains this out and stops that recirculation from happening. That's almost finished draining. I'm going to dump this out once that finishes, and then we'll brew ourselves up a Kalita. Before I get started here, you probably noticed, if you're an astute watcher, that this is a little drain right here. And yes, it is. We don't have it plumbed in. That's why I went and dumped this over here. But this, if it was installed in a cafe, that would be plumbed to a drain line. So you would have a drain right below this. Today we are drinking Counterculture's Kabewa. It's a very delicious natural. I've been brewing a ton of this on this setup here. And then we also have the Forte BG. And my recipe for this is about 21 grams of coffee and about 350 grams of water. All right, have that. Shake that out there. Make sure my settings are good to go. I'm gonna up that to about 3 minutes. And then you just flip that little switch and you're good to go here. I'm gonna take a break while this is brewing, but I'll come back once this finishes and we'll taste it. Coming back here, guys, this just wrapped up brewing. See what our brew bed looks like. So as you can see here, really, sorry about that, really pretty accurate, good dispersion all around. Not really any pockets where the water is hitting it super hard, anything like that. You could probably get even better results if you like shook it halfway through, like some people are fans of doing. But yeah, I'll grab a cup and we'll taste this. Be right back. I don't like my coffee super hot. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is right on par with all the other batches I've made off this thing. I think my number one word with a good grinder for this would be consistency. Really just as nice, consistent, brews good coffee each time. If you're a cafe owner and you want to have consistent pour over, but you want to free up that barista to do something else on bar, this is a great option. It's definitely not the most cost effective, but it does look super cool with this little dome up here with the water recirculating in it. It has a nice light in here to showcase that. It's going to get a lot of attention if this is sitting on your bar in your coffee shop, and makes a darn good cup of coffee as long as you have a good grinder paired with it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot during this video. That you learned something about the SP9 from Marco, the automatic pour over brewer. After I sign off here, we'll cut to a shot of it brewing a Chemex as well, so you guys can see what that looks like. It really looks pretty cool doing that automatically. But if you guys have any questions or comments, leave those down below in the comments section. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. If you want to know when these videos post, just hit that notifications button when you're subscribing. And if you've ever thought about opening your own coffee shop or have questions about that or equipment, or you want to upgrade the equipment at your shop, maybe put one of these in your shop, please give us a call. You can talk to me or one of our other commercial team members, and we'd love to chat with you about what that takes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy watching this Chemex brew some coffee that you can't have. Thanks, guys.